Buenas tardes.
Buenas tardes, guten Tag, buenos dias.
Beer time. Beer
Yes,
time.
Borodar, I think it is.
Not yucky dar.
Not Yakidar, Borodar. I think that's it anyway.
Hello. Crikey, it seems like ages since we were on screen. And I think during this COVID, you're either falling into that camp of either the days are really long and the months are really dragging, or it's just whizzed by. And it's really bizarre because, I actually think it's whizzed by, but then some days just seem to drag. But then
I've not had time to stop, to be honest. I've been here, there, and everywhere constantly, and I am looking forward to a week off next week.
Yeah, this is Angela's way of saying don't ask her where she's going because she's going to Dubai tomorrow. So I don't know how to do a hashtag well gel, but there you go. There's a verbal one.
The test literally came through about 10 minutes ago to say that I'm negative for COVID, so they'll let me in at least. Whether I'll get it between now and then.
Yeah. And then you've got the joys of quarantining for 2 weeks when you get back. Excellent.
I know, we only booked it 3 weeks ago, and it wasn't on the corridor then, or whatever they call it. So we did say, okay, we're booking this based on the fact that we probably will have to spend 2 weeks out. But then we don't go anywhere or do anything anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Guys, can you tell us if you can hear a really bad echo? I can. Oh, I didn't think you could hear an echo.
Yeah, I can hear an echo.
Oh, damn it.
The unfortunate thing is I can hear you. So we normally sort of maybe a month, 3 weeks in advance. Either Angela has what she sort of she sort of come up with this brain fart. She calls it a brain fart, not me. I just had an idea. Yes, there is an echo. Sorry, Ariane. It's all Angela's fault.
Arlene, we've been trying to get rid of it.
Oh, sorry, Arlene.
You do it every time, don't you?
Arlene. I'm sorry. Anyway, so we didn't have a brain fart. And it got to about yesterday morning and Angela's gone, nope, no idea. Don't know what to talk about. And I said, right, well, that's what we should talk about. What? She said, absolutely nothing. Because there are times in our lives, and I'm sure it's happened with you, where you've just drawn a blank. And I said that just as Angela disappeared. So you've drawn a blank, you get writer's block, you get a brain freeze, although brain freeze is sometimes associated with either drinking or eating something cold. But sometimes you've just got nothing to say. You just run out. And I must admit, I was talking about this on a sales course quite a while ago. And I said to people, have you ever had that on a sales call where you're trundling along, you're asking questions, and then all of a sudden, nothing. And you get that uncomfortable silence, and then you go, okay, yes, well, good to talk to you. Speak to you soon. Yeah,
Run away!
And
Run
what
away!
happens? We actually, as we put the phone down, we go with it. And this one particular consultant, she says, I call that my buffering moment. And I thought, do you know what? I am so having that. Trainers are like magpies. We collect things. And I just visualised that little symbol going around. I've got absolutely nothing to say. I'm just buffering, So I use that.
Okay, I've switched, and I still can hear everything. I've switched. See, brain freeze already. It's the end of the week. I'm so tired.
Whilst Angela's talking about that and sorting herself out, she's already, by the way, on the Dubai flight. And I actually found out that there is a difference between a mental block and a mental barrier. Do you know what the difference is?
I think one you bring upon yourself, the other one is sort of just appears from nowhere.
Well, if I was giving out points, I'd probably give you 7.
Oh!
1,000. No, 7 out of 10. Yeah, but a mental block is more of an uncontrollable, they call it a suppression of memories or thoughts. And it also provides you with the inability to carry on with your train of, your train of thought. So that's a mental block. Whereas a mental barrier, and this is what it links into your answer, a mental barrier are our own limiting beliefs or our own assumptions that we can't do something. Like, for example, I can't do that public speaking, or I can't ask for a pay rise, or I can't ask for a promotion. So it's things that we put upon ourselves. So we sort of create internally the mental barriers, but the mental blocks could be happening because of a whole heap of reasons, and the sales call being one of them.
Well, let's get some limiting beliefs then. Dom, thank you for the family listening. Let's love that. And I meant to explain this right at the beginning, because you're probably wondering what the hell's a ball gown doing behind me. We were up for an award last week, last Friday. So that's the dress that I wore. Not doing everything, not realising they don't see the top half. I didn't get to see the thing. We didn't win, unfortunately.
I was thinking of hanging my outfit up, Angela, behind me, but that's all I had.
I was in the string for a second.
No, what? Does it look like a thong? It's not. It's my face mask. But it does look like something. Look, I've got nearly 2,000 views on LinkedIn. Right, people like to have a little bit of a recruiter fit. Anyway, so. Have you ever had any embarrassing moments on a training course where you have had a buffering moment?
Many. For me, I must admit, and I can link this back to the stand-up we had a couple of months ago, this last year I had so many buffering moments where it's just like, and I didn't realise it into the menopause. So women of a certain stage, which is Lauren Duran's Facebook group, so if you want to join that, you happen to be women of a certain age, like me. And it's a nightmare. It's the same as baby brain. It's the hormones, it's the same thing going through. So many of you have had baby brain, obviously women, I'm guessing. It's just like, I can't get it out of my head. It's not even, it's total cloud. I'm thinking, there somewhere, and it's just, I'm going to have to say something stupid or blank or bland just to get it out. I'll come back. Usually about 20 minutes later, I'll go, oh!
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, the great thing, well, actually, I'll say great thing. One of the great things about being a trainer is that, we've been doing this for sort of 50 years combined. And the thing is, and I've lost my train of thought because I have such a big sort of creative brain that if somebody asks me a question, I'll just go off on one. And then it's almost like, okay, so where was I? So rather than saying, where was I? I'll say to the group, right, just want to make sure you're all paying attention. What was the last thing we were talking about? Right. So basically, if they can't remind me, then they weren't listening. So it doesn't really matter what I'm going to say next anyway.
That was always a get out clause for me on the phone, on the sales call. When I just had that brain freeze and it just suddenly stopped, I'm very much have a structure, have a plan, have your questions ready.
Yeah.
So that was my get out of jail free card. If I got stuck, I'd say, let's just take a moment. I had planned questions before I got on the phone. Let me check what we've covered already and what's still to ask.
Yeah.
So then I could go, and it didn't matter if the next question wasn't relevant at all to what we were just talking about, because I could look at it and go, oh yeah, done that. Oh, we haven't spoken about this. It also meant the client was sitting there thinking, bloody hell, they've written down questions.
Yeah.
That was my get out.
One of the, I was listening to Radio 2 this morning, and they had two guests on. It was Jeremy Vine, he had two guests on. And so the second guest is waiting in the wings. The first guest came on, and they were talking about COVID and stuff. And more so what the latest Chancellor's plan was. And the first guest, you can hear Jeremy Vine trying to interrupt, but this person just wanted to get out all of their points. So he said, look, thanks ever so much, went to guest 2, and guest 2 said, basically, the person who was on before me has basically said what I was going to say. So they just wanted to reiterate that. And it really sort of resonated with me because yesterday I was on a live webinar with someone that we both know, and I was waiting for my cue because I was waiting for my question. But then this particular person, my counterpart, carried on talking. And I thought, okay, well, I've got my notes here. I'm ready. And they carried on talking. Oh, well, cross that off. Carried on talking, so cross that off as well. So when it came to me, and this person said, "So, Alan, have you got anything to add?" I went, "Nope." No, nothing. Look at my sheet. Everything I was about to say has just been crossed
I
off.
told you to, no fighting.
I wasn't fighting. It just happened. And then that reminded me of I used to do amateur dramatics and stage shows and stuff. And I used to be quite good at ad-libbing, but I realised that actually ad-libbing is not really good to do. And there was one particular, and luckily it was a dress rehearsal, and I was doing the dress rehearsal, and I did forget my lines, and I thought, well, no, I'm going to carry on, the show must go on. So I ad-libbed a little bit, but then there was just this really uncomfortable silence, because I don't know if you've ever done sort of musical theatre or anything, but the musical director or conductor has the score in front of them, and it has on there the lead up lines to when to strike up the orchestra. So basically the conductor, the musical director, was waiting for my verbal cue.
Oops.
And they're waiting for the exact same words, which I didn't say. So there he is with his baton poised, waiting for the cue, and didn't get it. So of course, everyone's like this. And then you get the prompt from the wings. Alan, you got to say this. Like, oh no. And the thing is, it ruins the flow. It ruins the performance if you get these uncomfortable silences. So I guess in a way, we've got to think about, well, why do they happen and what can we do to prevent these sort of subconscious blanks? Have you got any ideas what we can do to stop them from happening?
Well, planning is always the thing, and having notes and making sure that you practice beforehand, isn't it?
Yeah. What was that you just showed me? What was that? Practice beforehand. What is that? Have you made notes?
Alan, you know me. You're the note taker. Actually, I do.
I haven't got anything.
Direct sourcing calls. For the stand-ups.
They do say that if you do suffer with these brain freeze moments, that why do they happen? Maybe it's nerves, maybe it's fear, maybe you've actually got too many things on the go. Maybe you're a bit worried. There's that fear factor that what you want to say is probably not relevant. Maybe you're afraid to say what you want to say. I this happens to me every single day. I'm afraid to say things that I really want to say. Because not being totally PC and so much. I mean, I did that post today which was all about National Fitness Day, and I was talking about before and after photographs, and I actually went through and I sort of looked at my text, and one of the texts was, the people that do these before and after photographs, in the first photograph, it's poor lighting, they're not smiling, they haven't done their hair or their makeup, and then I went on to what they look like afterwards. The hair is brilliant, they've done their makeup, and you know what I did? I went back and edited it and took out makeup.
Really?
Yeah, because I was worried that people that were looking at it might think that it was only aimed at women that do those particular photographs.
Webinars and everything at the moment as well. There's a lot of men.
But again, I was fearful of, oh my God, well, what if people misread that the wrong way? And we have to be so careful about what we put out there, because people do take it quite literally. And on social media, you could potentially invite silence. You could potentially invite those awkward buffering moments, or you just get a torrent of abuse. Either way, it's free advertising, so I don't really mind. But I think you're absolutely right. We've got to be prepared beforehand. A lot of that, whether it's planning, your questions, what you want to say, but a lot of it is about knowing your stuff. Andrew and I, we're pretty good at what we do when we're standing up in front of a group. Snowflakes. You're absolutely right, Matt. Snowflakes. Except we're not allowed to call them out, I don't think.
Don't say that's already been taken.
Yeah. The thing is, we have to know our stuff, because when you're standing up in front of a group of people, whether it be physically or on a webinar, there's nowhere to hide. On a webinar, if you've got nothing to say, this is saying. I've got nothing to say. And you just get that awful silence. But do you know what? Let your subconscious do the work for you. Your subconscious is such a powerful thing. Just program it to go and find that information. For example, are you ready, Angela? Who was the lead singer of T'Pau?
Carol Decker.
Oh, you see, I didn't know. I forgot, and I thought, leave it. I'll come back to it. And I forgot. I had to go and Google it.
Really?
Yeah. But how many times have you done this where maybe you've got a bit of trivia, maybe amongst your friends, and then you wake up in the middle of the night and your brain has gone, oh, it was Heather Small, it was Carol Decker, it was Boy George. And what's happened is that your subconscious is working on your behalf. So sometimes when you program your subconscious with too much, you become too busy. And whenever anybody says about, your mental health and anxiety and having these brain freeze moments, they say, sometimes just stop. Don't say anything and reset. And sometimes silence can be such a powerful thing. So stop, think, and you know what? It's okay to say, I don't know. It's absolutely fine. I know that there's a lot of talk, and Claire does a lot, and Rebecca is talking about, we've got to get people talking. Do you know what? Sometimes it's okay to not say anything, because when someone's talking, it's best to not say anything. It's best not to have any thoughts. So you listen to them intentionally, and then you can contribute if necessary. That was quite serious for an elapsed Cripps Clarke, wasn't it?
It was.
Better get back and have some more beer.
Well, that not saying anything, I think I'm going to have to try it, because a lot of people that I'm talking to are doing 10 minutes of meditation in the morning.
Yeah.
And that resetting, breathing, headspace time, they're saying it's working wonders for them. So I'm going to have to give it a go. I'll have a go on holiday because I've got no pressures then, but I am not a morning person. So getting up and then not doing anything and taking time, I'm like, got too much to do.
But my wife meditates, George meditates, and you can do it whenever you like, whenever you feel like you need a reset, because it's a bit like sometimes, I don't know if you've ever done this, you're looking at a crossword or you're looking at a bunch of letters and you've got to make an anagram out of it and you just can't see it. It's a bit like I was doing some jigsaw puzzles earlier on with our eldest granddaughter, and I'm saying, get the edgy bits, find the corner bits, and she couldn't see them, and I'm thinking, they're bloody there, they're right in front of you, but she couldn't see it. And it's a bit like, you might have that as a crossword, you walk away, you come back half an hour later and you go, oh, that's what it is, look, it's pentathlon.
There's the phrase, you can't see for looking, can you?
Yes.
And it's obviously there for a reason, because the more you're intense and trying to stare at it and be like, I can't see it, don't worry. But you're right, go away, give yourself a break, come back, your brain's already caught up. There it is.
It's gone, it went somewhere. It is there, we just got to get our subconscious working for us. So we don't want our subconscious working for next month, so we really do invite anybody that watches the Alas Cripps Clarke to give us some suggestions. Look, we've done some acting, there are some famous couples that we haven't done. I still think that Angela would be a very good Ruth.
Oh, and you're going to be, see my brain already.
Amen.
Amen. Yeah, I've done that in my head. I knew it was an Irish name.
I need to put on an Irish accent, but I think you could do with a little bit of backcombing and a bit of a fringe. Yeah, I think we could do that. Phil and Holly Willoughby, we've talked about that, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that. But anyway, if you've got any ideas as to what you would like us to drivel on about for 15, 20 minutes to start your month. But let's start the month on a positive, because October, Rocktober, Stop Drinking October, whatever you want to call it. Let's work on the basis that the normal is there's going to be challenges. There's going to be changes. And, when people blame the government for, why do you keep making these changes? Because we have to, in line with what the virus is doing, in line with what the data and what the stats are telling us. So Angela loves a bit of stats and loves a bit of KPI. So all I would say is make October a time that you do monitor, you do look at what you're doing, be smart, because if there's less work out there, we'd rather you work on things that you're going to get a return on, as opposed to wasting time with time wasters. Because otherwise, wasting time with time wasters, you're going to have a lot of silent moments where you don't know what to say. So,
Well, you're on your own on Tuesday, aren't you? Because I'm
Yeah.
away,
yeah,
and you're going to be doing commerciality.
I am.
Perfect.
Commerciality on Tuesday morning stand up. I shall be on my own talking to myself again. Not unusual. But so any final thoughts that we can leave our wonderful Alas Cripps Clarke audience with?
Well, I don't know where you are, but in front of me it is blue sky and
Yeah.
sunshine. Where did that come from?
Well, it's called weather, Angela. It's always there. Sunshine's been there for millions and millions of years.
Oh, where's that wine?
Well, anyway, so thanks for that final thought, and have a wonderful holiday in Dubai. Please do not send any postcards. Don't send. And what I don't want is one of those photographs of your knees and your feet with your toenails done, with a pool in front and a cocktail in your hand. That's been done to death.
I'm part of a netball group, and we send back pictures of our toes from all over the world. I've even been on a ferry with the Sydney Harbour Bridge behind me, and I've managed to get my toes in the shop.
Right. On that note, on that toe note, have a fantastic weekend. Have an absolutely rocking October. And if you want to talk about commerciality, come and join me for the stand-up on Tuesday morning. And if you want to see photographs of Angela's feet, you need to check her out on Facebook. Anyway.
I'll put it on Twitter.
Yeah,
I've access
excellent.
to the Recruiting Gym account now.
Even better. Anyway, look, thank you for joining us. Thank you for contributing, Arlene, Dom and Matt. And have a fantastic one. See you soon. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Just going to get my thong back